Cindy Key for today's assignment. Also, I want to introduce Sarah Morrison. She is our marketing intern, and she is also a student at Oakland University. And now I'll turn it over to Mr. Brill.
Hi, everybody. Everybody ready for spring break? Well, I have lots of things to share with you. We had a wonderful board meeting last evening and signed off on several opportunities that I want to bring to your attention today, and then several thank yous that I want to share with you also today. First of all, I'll tell you, we'll go ahead and get the bad news out of the way. The leadership team was rehired. Good news is, also, I brought your attention several months ago about an opportunity to purchase a piece of land just south of here that would expand our campus ×2. And we actually have a contract on 47 acres that butts up to the back of our property here. What most in this community would consider some prime time real estate. And Larry, I think we got a pretty good deal on it, don't you? Yeah, we did the school a good thing last night. You know, as we think about our budgeting and the economy and what we want to spend our money on and how we spend it, you know, it's a very delicate balancing act. So right now we're not earning any type of interest whatsoever on our savings. So investing in some property is a smart idea, I believe, at least this time. As we think about lessening our dependency on tax dollars, this is a very good first step. We're already in the black when we have land that you own outright. So we're pretty happy about that. We have about a 90-day closing. We'll do all kinds of environmental testing and all those good things to make sure it's a good investment for the taxpayers in this community. But I think we'll be just fine. That land was platted for residential just 18 months ago. Went into foreclosure. We picked it up off of foreclosure. That's why we're able to get such a good bargain on it. So I'll keep you posted on that. But if everything goes like I think we'll probably closing that land before the end of the fiscal year. So again, this land just behind here. Those of you that are thinking about hunting on the land. Yeah, I think that's a bright idea. Lisa, there you go. I understand. Scott, I don't think we can use a firearm back there, though. Is that city limits? Right here?
I think it is. One side is the other. It's real close.
It is? What's that, Lisa?
My husband used to hunt there.
Your husband did? He will now have to pay to hunt there. We can do a payroll deduct, though. Also, I believe I mentioned to you last month about hiring our architects to help us with some master planning. The board approved that project too. So we'll do some master planning for updating the infrastructure inside of our buildings in terms of paint, furniture, those kinds of things. And then 3 or 4 major projects that I mentioned last month: the business computer technology area, the enrollment services area, the strategy center, and then our main entryway to get that into the new millennium. It's pretty much an 80s look. I also want to tell you, Brent Jeanette presented last night, and they did a fabulous job presenting. I was so proud of it. Yeah, let's give them a They really took the socks off the board, and of course, what they were presenting is the successes of the faculty and the success, and so kudos to all of you for making them look good. Are you going to talk about completion retention? Okay, I'll do that. Last year, we led the state in completion retention rates and placement rates, which is a really big deal because when you can get both of those above 90%, you're considered top off. We were in the 92 and 94% range. So when you lead both of those, that's pretty incredible. We just got our data back for this year. We ended up number 2 in placement and number 2 in completion retention rate. But the schools that are above us aren't the same schools, so we are really, really at the top, just less than a percentage point behind in both of those categories. So thanks to all of you for your hard work to make that happen. This morning, at Rotary downtown at the crack of dawn. And one of the questions that was asked is, how is it that your completion rate is so high? And took that opportunity in front of the legislators to talk about how students come here and they get to do the things they love to do. And I told them we just really try to take care of our students, and that one-size learning for all students is not the way to go. But once we get them here, we embrace them, and they get to learn doing something they really enjoy doing. And that's how I think education ought to be. And everybody just thought that was pretty cool. Speaking of that, this morning, bright and early, I'd like to thank Jamie, Ryan, and Sarah for meeting me downtown at 6:30 this morning, which came real early because if you were like me last night, you didn't go to bed at halftime, and you stayed up and watched into that darn Oklahoma State game, and they almost blew it. So we didn't get to bed until 11 o'clock, which is way past my bedtime. So thank you, Jamie and Sarah. I also want to take a moment to, where's David Gardner and his dad? They're all back there. You guys stand up. Business After Hours was off the charts. I was so proud. The students looked fantastic. The food was fantastic. I don't know. There was 150 people, Tiffany, there. It was just a wonderful evening for those of you who got to come. Thank you for being there. So it was a good deal. I have on my list lobbying, some of the lobbying we're doing, and what's going on with the legislature and how that might impact Tri-County. There's not a whole lot of movement on the financial side. We're pushing pretty hard to get supplemental appropriations that would allow for full funding of the health benefit allowance. We all either take insurance or we get salary in lieu. Well, we get a portion of that reimbursed from the State Department of Career Tech. Well, the shortfall for Tri-County is about $70,000 a year, and I feel like we should get that money. I don't know that we will, but I think it's our best opportunity to get increased funding with the state. There is some surplus dollars, not surplus, there's going to be extra dollars this year. I'm not sure how that gets spread around, but I'm pretty sure we're not going to get a whole lot of that, but we're working real hard to make that happen. The deadline for most just about every bill was yesterday, so there's lots of things floating around. There was some legislation passed on A through F, which doesn't really impact us. Legislation passed on teachers carrying guns in schools, that got through the legislature. So lots of interesting things that we don't get too excited about any of it. So having talked about finances, let's segue into budgeting. All of you are probably working with your work groups on budgeting, getting ready to budget for FY14. So I think the deadlines are very, very soon. And we can't mention more about that. If you think about your budget and your dollars, I visited with leadership about this yesterday. We still continue to be very conservative with our operating dollars. I suspect we'll enter this fiscal year probably $200,000 to $300,000 less potential revenue than the end of the year. So that's not a significant goal. We've bridged that gap before. But bridging that gap gets harder and harder. Hence the importance to carry forward our savings account. That's important for two reasons. What's the main reason? Boom, that didn't work here. You said payday. And our bonuses. We have to hit our carry forward to get that bonus, right? And then, the next most important thing is to just ensure that we're providing the most quality services and programs to our students. So I think what I'm asking you is to make sure that you're not spending anything you don't have to spend. And what I said to the leadership yesterday is this notion of buying something because it's a good deal now or trying to stock up for next year, while that might work in some, maybe even our own households, that's not relevant in Tri-County. Building a savings account at the end of the year is our smartest approach to ensuring that we have the resources we need to make it through the year. Can I get a head shake of that? Yeah. All right. Does everybody understand that? Now, you all have your budget. We're planning that everything will be spent, but every dollar that's not spent goes into that savings. So I ask you all to help me out with that to ensure we can surpass our goal or carry forward. Any questions about any of that? Renee?
I'm good.
You good? You're a whole lot better about 4 o'clock, won't you?
I mean, 4:30.
4:30? 5 o'clock? Pretty good, huh? Did I miss anything? All right. Who's next, Jamie? Tiffany, give her a hand.
Good morning. Okay, last night at the board, in addition to the leadership team being rehired, the board also approved the position for Larry's staff. It's the business coordinator at business training. And they hired Mark Cotner. He'll be joining us April 31st. He is currently a director at a Career Tech Center in Idaho. So he is very familiar with the Career Tech system. In fact, he came to one of our last month's superintendent's forums, I believe. He's been at Central Tech, he's been at Tulsa Tech, Kaimichi, he's done a variety of different things in the system. So we're excited to have him on board. He'll be helping Tara and Tanya. And I think Tara's really excited for him to start with the safety training and get into the companies. Also, the enrollment specialist position was on the board agenda last night. Tara and Prinza and Gail have been interviewing for that position. They have done a couple of second interviews, and they hope to be offering that position next week, so we will get that person on board in the near future as well. And then yesterday we posted the director of development position, which will be working with our foundation. We'll be doing external affairs for the school and helping bring in much needed money for our students for scholarships. So that is on the website. It will not be in the newspaper till the Sunday after spring break, just so if anybody has questions, somebody can answer the phone. And let's see, finally, our latest update on our best places to work survey. We have a 68% response rate. It does close a week from Friday. If today's your last day before spring break, please take that survey before you leave today. If you have not seen it in your email box, let me know. And Chuck and I will try to help get that directed to you. We would like to have a little bit higher response rate just because it helps us with the data and seeing where we have improvements or where we're doing really great. So that closes a week from Friday, but you can take it anytime between now and then. And then the Zoom, if you have not responded to Jennifer Garris with your RSVPs, yes or no, for the zoo on May 4th, please do that so we can kind of have a tentative idea of how many's coming, and then we can figure out how extra tickets can be sold or purchased or how that's going to work. And finally, March work anniversaries. Let's give Benny McClintock a hand for 14 years of training. He must be driving a bus. Heather Pollock, 9 years. Tara Trotter, 5 years. And Trudy McClure, 10 years. Do you want to talk about Wilford Kids Day?
Sure. Well, I want to thank everybody that did come out for Beaufort Kids Day to help support our teams. We had 7 teams out there that day, that night, and it was a really fun time. I think Brian had a few strikes, but I don't know, his team, I think my team actually beat their team. My son was out there bowling, and Colin, I think, got a total of 5 points. Kim's like, no way. So I want to appreciate all that supported our bowling teams. We had a great time.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to share with you some answers to the Baldridge questions that you have been asking and let you know where we are on our initiative. This graphic is what they call the Baldridge framework. And I'm not expecting you to memorize it. I just wanted you to see it. In the Baldridge world, they actually call it the Baldridge hamburger. And it does kind of look like a hamburger. These are the sections of our application and how they link together. At the very top is the organizational profile, which is they call the preface. Sometimes they call it the pre-matter or whatever that part is. It's the non-numbered pages in our 50 pages. So it really gives the readers the context of us and who we are. It really is the facts about what it is and what we're doing. But I think you're becoming familiar with the other 7, a little bit, names of the categories. If you've been going to Lunch and Learn, we've been covering a category at each one of the Lunch and Learns. The last Lunch and Learn, last Friday that I did, we did half of Part 7. We did half of Part 7. We did student learning outcomes. And then, does anybody else remember what else we talked about besides student learning? It's really close related to student learning. So,
Yeah.
yeah, student satisfaction. Student satisfaction, how happy, how satisfied the students were with their instruction. The next Lunch and Learn will do the other part of 7. It's too much to handle all at one time, which will be the workforce focus, the financial outcomes, and the governance outcomes, which honestly is kind of boring. It's about all our compliance stuff that we're compliant with. But it still is a part of our application that I'll show you. But I wanted you to see what the framework was and how the parts linked together. Some of you have been asking me about the next one. Some of you have been asking me about, sometimes I randomly talk about the points and the different points that the different sections are worth. So I wanted to show you what that was. The results are really the bottom line. You can see that's 450 points of our application is part 7, is about the results. But how we get to the results are what the other 6 parts are about. Leadership being the most important factor, and then the rest of the 6 categories being pretty much equal. To be a winner, we don't have to have 800 points or 900 points. You would think, oh, I want a 95%, we're going to get 950 points. You get a site visit, you have about 600 or 700 points. On the national level, it's hard. It's hard. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to be perfect. But I wanted you guys to see how the points were broken out. I also wanted you to see on the next slide, Deanne, some of you had asked about how many applicants have there been over the past few years and in what categories. So these are the applicants divided by the industry categories. Now this is for the National Malcolm Baldrige Award, and I didn't have the 12 data to show that to you. When I get that, I'll update that so you can see. The little star down on nonprofit is because they didn't exist until 2006. That category didn't exist. You can see the education category is the smallest. And even though we're predominantly education, we also could kind of qualify as a nonprofit and small business. Small business in Baldrige language is less than 500 people. It's a pretty big number, 500. So we're definitely a small education nonprofit business. But we'll go in the education category because it's the cheapest. They give education a little bit of a bump on the application fee. And even when we go to conferences, we get to pay a little bit of a less fee. But I wanted you to see how some of that fell and why healthcare is beginning to dominate Baldrige. It's because they have the most applicants in for Baldrige. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about, Brett's going to help me talk about this. At Lunch and Learn last Friday, we were talking about the processes that have led to some of our outstanding results in instruction. And one of the processes is something that we call small learning communities. And in the research, they call it professional learning communities. But we call it small learning communities. And a lot of people didn't know what that was. Like, what's small learning communities? So I asked Brent to help me tell you guys what small learning communities are.
I let them out enough. Stand up if you know what our small learning communities are. Stand up if you know what our small learning communities are. Okay, great. Let's sit back down. That's why I'm going to explain it. Small learning communities are a method of communication for our faculty members to get information from leadership and from the goals and key measures that we set, but we want to trickle down to our students. And then the small learning communities also gather information from our students and from the field, and that trickles back up to leadership. Basically, we used to have two faculty meetings every month. Big faculty meetings. Well, there are a lot of things that happen in a faculty meeting that really the whole group doesn't need to hear, or maybe someone doesn't want to, they don't want to ask because it's in a big group. So we divided our faculty up into different groups. So if you are a core leader or a leader of one of the teams, would you please stand up? Johnny, Carrie, James, Jolene, Susan. Each one of these people that are standing up lead a group of faculty of 5 or 6 members. Lydia leads the dental and the nursing, and they're a little bit different because they follow the different guidelines. But the rest of them, they meet the 3rd Friday of every month, and they're a place to ask questions such as, you know, I've been having this problem in my classroom. What have you guys done that works well for you? Peer groups. So the small learning communities are just an opportunity for the faculty to work on different problems and issues that they have in a small group. And then if it's a big enough issue that the whole group needs to know, the core leaders will share that with me and Jeanette, and we'll get back up to leadership. So it's just an opportunity, a learning opportunity, and a way to attack problems in small environments that can affect the school as a whole.
Thank you, Brett. Now you know that's one of our promising practices, it's called, that have led to our outstanding results that we're talking about in section 7. I wanted to show you where we are on our progress line for our initiative. The draft is done, the intent to apply is done, the editing is all done. That was awesome. And now our application is in Shane James' able hands. Shane is working on the graphic design, and it mainly is words. And you'll see, all of you will get a chance to see our application very soon. But it mainly is a novel with lots of writing in it, lots of words. But there will be some graphics along the way. There'll be bar graphs and charts, and there'll be some pretty designs that Shane makes on page headings. We'll have a cover page that will have some design elements to it. And so that's what Shane is working on. Remember, our deadline to submit is April 15th. Mr. Fields mentioned in one of our meetings, we'll put that in the mail and postmark it by April 15th. I'll be driving it down there by April 15th. It's a lot of copies of a 50-page document, and I want to see the little blue-eyed person that I'm going to hand it to, so I know that it's in their hands. Our next and last Lunch and Learn is April 26th. April 26th is our next and last Lunch and Learn. And I will be leading that, and we will be reviewing the whole thing, but also going through those parts of the results of Section 7 that I haven't had a chance to share with you. And again, sometime in August or September, the examiner team will be here with us for, how long is it, Brent, Jamie? 3 fun-filled days. Okay? 3 fun-filled days that team will be with us. And as soon as I know those exact dates, you will know. I had the opportunity to rank the weeks that we wanted, and I picked the latter weeks in September so we can kind of get our act together in August, but I don't know if we'll get that. I don't know if we'll get that time frame or not. The last thing I want to share with you is I have homework for all of you. So if you have something to write with, you may want to write this down. Those of you that were at Lunch and Learn already got a heads up on homework, and I won't ask you to turn it in today. I will be asking you at the next superintendent's forum we have in April. So you might want to brush up on your homework. What I'd like to know is, how do you impact our vision? How do you impact Tri-County's vision? You need to be prepared to share a story. You know, Barbara Garrett used to always talk to us about stories. You need to be prepared to share a 2-minute story about how you personally impact our vision. And we know what our vision is. It's inspiring success through life-changing learning experiences. The story can be in context of what you do. It could be when you are acting sometime outside of the context of your job, if you have a particular story that you want to tell. What's the mantra or the Mr. Fields philosophy that we talk about if you're not a teacher? Someone say that. Because if you're not taking care of the students, then take care of someone who is. So that's the kind of story that I'm talking about. The examiners are going to be asking me that as the very first simple beginning of the conversation thing. Well, tell me what you do here, and how do you help implement the vision at Tri-County? So you need to know the answer. I want you to be able to say it in words what that is. Not a great big long, rambling 10-minute speech, just a really short, Chuck said, elevator speech. If we had elevators, how long it would take to get to the 7th floor of the elevator. Just a short 2-minute about what it is that you do to impact the vision. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you. I believe Larry's next.
Thank you, Tammy. First of all, I do have a guest today. He's brand new in the career tech system. Mike Boone. He's over at Pioneer Techniques over here today, studying some curriculum from us, so we're happy to have him. Share curriculum. Anyway, it's a good relationship we have with all the career techs. I was yesterday at the State Chamber of Commerce with the biz directors. There was a lot of sharing of information, and it was pretty critical. Their position is the State Chamber is a lobby arm for business, and so they really kind of got into some depth as to the things that can impact career tech and what our lobbyists are doing for us. We had Scott Smith, who is the liaison with career tech in the Department of Commerce, and also has a second job given to him to be a liaison with the lobbying arm, or ACTE. I'm still learning acronym, seriously. But anyway, it was an interesting meeting, and we learned a lot. They got to share a lot of information between career techs and what best practices that they're doing. So it was a good opportunity. Another thing, Mr. Fields talked a little bit about the land that's been purchased or will be purchased. It's under contract. Just to show you how much he cares about you. This land is in an L shape, and it comes out on Madison Avenue. So eventually there may be an entry off of Madison Avenue. You can come in and career tech. Here, it just saves you a little gas money, saves you a little time. It makes it more convenient. But anyway,
I was wondering the significance of the L.
Larry, it could be. I don't know.
You're right.
We've had a busy few weeks. Tanya and Tara have been over in Pahuska, training project management for the Osage Nation. We're doing some work with Karen Aerosmith at the hospital in Pahuska. We've got another one of their food for thoughts coming up at the end of this month. So a lot going on for us, a lot going on. We're really excited, as Tiffany mentioned, to have Mark Cotner back in the career tech system in Oklahoma. He started the career tech system up in Idaho. His wife is now a teacher here in Bartlesville, so we had a little leverage to get him to come here. When the other career techs already have found out that he's coming back, they're disappointed they didn't get him. So we're really excited to have that. It's going to be a great addition to our staff. He's going to fit right in. He knows the system, he knows the people, and the people that he has touched in the other positions he's been in, just raved about it. We're just disappointed they didn't. But anyway, that's about all we have. We've been real busy, looking forward to spring break, and then hitting it pretty hard when we get back.
I almost forgot about my license. Now you guys want to say candy bars. Do what? I'm going to do your financial update. I can do that. I was going to try to make Tiffany give us a snow day this afternoon, but I think that's okay. Yeah, nice weather day. That'd be good. Our first white license goes to Colleen Seals. Come on down. Remember what white licenses are about? They're about recognizing each other for going above and beyond what our regular job responsibilities are. So thank you for Colleen for whatever great thing you did to get here. Terry Cole, come on down. How about Zach? Erica. Susan Peterson. She's competing with Juan. She gets 2. Oh my God, I don't know. Get a score on that. Shane James. Shane gets 2 also. And I also wanted to recognize, no more candy bars, sorry. Sharon Lee. Where's Sharon? Thank you, Sharon. Sharon has been substituting with us, with Lisa, for Melanie Walker. Well, Melanie has been home with her baby, and today is her last day, because Melanie will be back after spring break. So thank you, Sharon, very much. Now I'll let Kim talk about me.
Those of you that got 2 candy bars, I'm easily persuaded. It is budget time, yes. Okay, here we are as of today. If we're still the top, still staying the same, we're still looking at a $2.3 million carry forward going into FY14. Actually, revenue was as of yesterday. $9,793,000 is where we're at. So we still spend everything. We only need $35,000 in the hole right now. So we're getting closer to that at least break-even point. So we still need to collect $2,339,000. About $800,000 will still come from the formula through our state dollars, and then about $757,000 from ad valorem. Our April check coming up should make a big chunk in that coming into next month. So what we have left is $778,000. So yesterday when I was looking at this, I'm thinking, wonder where we were at in March last year, just to kind of compare, because I'm a compare girl. I go back about 3 years on everything that I do, just because. March of 2012, we had $739,000 left to collect. So we're a little bit more to collect than we were last year, but that's not to say that the timing of different things coming in, depending on reimbursement-wise and stuff like that. So really, we're pretty close to staying on target. So here's our bar graph. We dropped down a little bit from, we were at 940 last month, and we're at 778 this month. And then you show the graph that nobody ever understands. But I showed it anyway. I get it. Okay, so the blue is our differences from month to month. So from last month to this month, we collected $161,000 down there on that far end, that blue dot. So that makes our red line as our average on what we should be collecting about each month. So that made our average go up just a little bit. So for these last 3 months, we need to collect about $259,000 a month to hit our goal to do our $2.3 million. That's all I have on that. Budget, I'll talk about that real quick. Okay, budgets, everybody's in full swing on budget stuff. All the directors have access to all the budgets for last year. So faculty, I know you guys are having your program of excellence meeting as soon as you come back from spring break. So be thinking about all those things that you're wanting to ask for, your wish list. You may not get any of them, but go ahead and write them down. Now, remember one thing though, on my own faculty last year, one thing that we did a little different was when you were requesting equipment for your programs. Remember those little small things that kind of came in that were $500 for this or $1,000 for that? If it's under $2,500, you need to include it in your general fund budget. Because technically, if something's under $2,500, it's not equipment, it's a supply. So when you're looking at those budgets that I gave you last year, I put in the notes, I have a little column up there, it says FY13 notes, that tells you, you may see that it says $1,800 for items that were under $2,500. So when you look at your supply line, you actually have $1,800 more than what you've had in previous years, because that was for those little small equipment pieces. So if you don't need any of those small equipment pieces, go ahead and deduct that $1,800 off that supply line before you fill in your amount and send it on through. If that is clear as mud to everybody? Okay. If you have any questions too when you're doing it, feel free, holler, talk to your director, they can help you. They're due March 31st. I know there's a couple that are scheduled through April 3rd. So you guys will be my last few that as soon as we get your programs done, I'll plug those numbers in so that I can start tying the salary with all the budget requests and then start looking at revenue. Okay. Power update. Next month I'll bring you, we'll do a little slideshow here to show you kind of for the quarter where we're at. So I'm just going to kind of tell you month to month how we're doing still in the energy savings. Through February we have saved 4,600 kilowatts, which is in $4,300 in cheaper this year than we were last year at the same time. This corresponds to a 1.1% usage reduction. So we've decreased our usage by 1.1%. So at least we're less, and a 15% reduction in the bill. So see how that little 1%. So try to still make sure you're shutting everything off. I know we say this all the time, unplug things, especially if you're going on spring break. Make sure and unplug everything before you head out today, please, because that's a whole week or 9 days that it could be sitting in here and things be running and we don't really need them to. So make sure you're shutting everything down that you can and unplugging everything. Okay, fitness facility. I'm going to show you a little video real quick. Thanks to Chuck. You know how you're working out there. You can hear the drill going. Gary is working so hard. This is why we don't let Chuck video. We only let Ison. After it was all empty. So I'll try to start bringing you progress pictures. Once the board, on the fitness facility, we met with the architects on Thursday, Wednesday, whatever day it was this week, to finalize the last minute little details because we have a few little tweaks and things. It came in about $359,000 over our original budget to start with. That's just on their estimates now. That's not my people actually sending bids in, but kind of what they're projecting. So we met, we went back to the drawing board on a few things. We had to cut some things out that I thought would have been really fun, but kind of just downsized a few things so that we can still be able to offer everything that we want to provide in there, but be able to stay within our budget within a reason, because we have promised our board that we would stay within what we have budgeted for the actual construction and as far as the landscaping and the equipment as well. So we got 3 different pieces we're working with. So they went back, they're going to do a few different, the way the bid package will come out, not this Sunday, but next Sunday it'll come out in the paper to advertise that we're going to take bids for all the different parts of the project. Then that'll be for 21 days, it has to stay open for people to submit their bids. Then we'll have April 16th, Dennis and I go down and meet with Mackinac, and we'll open all those sealed bids that they've received to see who is low bidder on each project between concrete, electrical, all that kind of stuff. So we'll have to have a special board meeting because this is going to be after our April board meeting. So we'll probably have a special board meeting maybe around April 18th, right in there, for the board to approve all those bids that we're wanting to accept. So once the board approves those bids, then those contractors can get started. And I think they typically have about a 20-day start date from once we accept the bids that they have to get started. So we're hoping by middle of May, they should be in there tearing up some concrete, knocking out. That whole front wall's going to come out on the brick, so they can just drive their little dozers in there and they're busting up all the concrete. We've got to put a whole new slab in there because the moisture barrier, there is none in that concrete. And so that's why we have issues with moisture problems in there. So we're going to fix all those things as we're doing the fitness facility so that we make sure it's done right. And once we have when we come for April for them, I will have the drawings for you. So I'll bring them and we'll show them up, put them up here and let everybody see kind of what it's going to look like so you guys can get excited about it like I am, because I'm really ready to get started on this.
Thank you, Kim. Chuck, I expected better. Really, we're looking for a new CFO. Take a picture of the sign coming down. Yesterday in leadership team meeting, we were wondering why we got done so fast. And it's because Larry, Tara, and Tanya were gone yesterday. And then last night at the board meeting, we're like, well, if Larry was here, I'm sure he would have something to say. And Tara down there, she's like, oh, I got this. So, having said that, Tara, do you have a foundation update for us?
It is my pleasure to mention to everyone here first, before the information leaks out to everybody in the community, which will take place on Sunday in the Sunday paper, but for our Foundation Superintendent Celebration event that we're having on April the 13th here in our event center, we are really pleased to announce that we're going to have Senator Tom Coburn as the guest speaker for that night. So we're going to have a fabulous event. We look forward to all the members of the Superintendent Circle of Giving being there. We'll have about 150 people in attendance. And once again, I want to thank you all for supporting the foundation and for letting me be a part of it. Thanks.
I know Lisa has an announcement for us about spring and healthy eating.
The sign-ups will be in the Success Center, out in both auto places, child care, and the Strategy Center. We'll pick those up like on April the 10th, so then we can kind of get everything. Culinary is offered to help us. So like if you want to bring your food and you don't know what to do with it, or you need it reheated, or to keep it cold, you can bring it the morning of the 12th. But they do ask that you have directions on your plate and then it labeled with your name on it, so then they can get it back to you. And they'll set it out and have everything ready for us at 11 o'clock. This year, also, as you're getting kind of ready, you don't have to bring your serving spoons or anything, because we're going to get those, because everyone kind of tended to lose them or forget them. And so we're getting those. All you need is to bring the dish and basically your own drink. Okay? Thank you.
Just wanted to let you guys know that we are having our drawing this afternoon for our networking technology, our computer that we built. And so if you want to purchase any more tickets, I have some right over here.
All right, just a few more hours from spring break, so. All right, everybody have a great afternoon and a good spring break.